Good evening. It's August 27th, 2024. It's 6:04. I'd like to call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. And a roll call, please.
Teresa A. Morse present.
Joe Shank present.
Chad Sexton Duranian present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank all our veterans, both past and present, and our first responders. Thank you very much for your service. This meeting is being recorded and it will be uploaded on YouTube, and I believe we are live on Channel 9. I hope we are. Chairman's additions and deletions. I do not have any. Teresa, do you have any?
No, I do not.
Joe?
I do.
1.5, review and approve the meeting minutes. So I'll entertain a motion for, do either of you have a, we can do these together if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
I'll entertain a motion to approve meeting minutes for 8/16/2024 and 8/20/2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I don't see any issues with anything, so all those in favor?
Teresa A. Morse, aye.
Aye.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Yes. I will take this moment to introduce our new town administrator, Nelson Moy. Nelson, thank you and welcome aboard. Nelson started with us yesterday, and he's had a 2-day crash course on a lot of stuff. But I welcome you to the organization.
Thank you so much.
We will, I'm sure, find out more about you as we move along.
I look forward to working very well.
Appointments, we have 605 review and sign engineering contract. This is for the climate resilience project to survey map and report stormwater infrastructure. Do you want to talk a little bit about this? Or you want me to read the reason why we're here?
Yeah, you're welcome to read that. I think that's something Jessica provided for you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. This is what, because I was on the planning board when we started all of this, because this comes out of the MVP action grant, or the MVP project that we were working on. So this is about, I think, 5 years in the making. Our MVP action grant has been awarded the town $154,500 to finish the 2016 mapping and inventory of the Townsend's stormwater infrastructure, which consists of catch basins, drain pipe outfalls, etc., of which about 2/3 is already mapped. The award also includes a condition assessment of the infrastructure and, most importantly, identifying weak points and those susceptible to failure as our climate changes. Where infrastructure is observed and potentially be lacking, the areas will be assessed for improvement using nature-based climate resilient solutions. The vast majority of this grant award goes to engineering services to conduct this work. The remaining is to partner with NRWA for their consultation on deliverables from a more regional watershed scale approach. Upon discussions with the interim TA, selection of an engineering consultant is exempt from 30B procurement, and as such, we propose to use Weston and Sampson for this work. They assisted with the grant application preparation and are thoroughly aware of our scope of work. The Weston and Sampson contract is what we are hoping to have executed by the BOS and the town administrator, so we can keep moving this project forward to meet our schedule of field work and deliverables within fiscal year 25. Thank you for your consideration. If needed, the attached contract has been updated to reflect Nelson as the designated executor for the town. Want to add anything to that, Russ?
Well, I want to thank Jessica for writing up that summary. I think it's a valid project. I looked into the selection process, and procurement law allows us to go directly with the engineer at this point, and that was Weston and Sampson that helped with the grant. And I think the way she said she had it worded was for the board to authorize Nelson as TA to sign that for you, just to say you guys signed it off. So I would suggest, if you approve, the motion is to authorize Nelson to sign on your behalf.
And that's the reason why I wanted to put this on here, is just to be able to get the signatures on it. This is all part of our MVP plan for the town. We have the planning board's been very active with that. Zoning has been involved in that as well. And the
Been a while,
land
they've
use-
been working on it.
Yeah, well, we had mapping from 2016, but it's not complete. And we were hoping to be able to move forward, and we weren't able to move forward with what we wanted to, because it wasn't completely mapped out. So this grant's going to help us map out the rest of, especially the stormwater management portion of it. I also think it's going to be helpful for our highway department too, because a lot of the culverts and the outways are kind of out of date, and it'll allow them to be able to look at those and see what needs to be updated and at least put on a schedule so that we can plan for it budget-wise. If they need to be replaced or whatever. Do you have any questions on any of this, Teresa?
No,
Joe, do you have any questions on any of this?
No, I mean, this project, will some of this be incorporated in any of the new construction building that's being done in town? Not gonna involve any of that?
Yes, if there was any changes, it'll update what they've already done and
Okay.
also finish mapping out what
What we
they
need.
haven't before,
Okay.
in their suggestions. Now, if I am not mistaken, Weston and Sampson also helped us out with a project around the harbor too.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the same firm
Yeah.
that did it?
I think so.
And they still manage that as far as the outflow. I see them on a weekly basis out there, either letting the water out or closing it down to keep the water in. So they're active. They do understand the whole water system within the town. So I think this is a very good choice for them to go with.
Okay.
So if we don't have any more to add, Teresa, I'll entertain a motion to allow Nelson, the new town administrator, to execute these agreements with Weston and Sampson for the MVP Action Grant.
so moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moore, yes.
Prashank, yes.
Chaz Exendrinian, yes. We'll have Jessica and Aaron, who's been part of the grant, to kind of fill you in on all of the details on what it is.
Okay.
We had initially got a grant to help us write the plan. We got a secondary grant to finish other portions of it. This is also going to allow us to finish the last part of it, so that now we can apply for more action grants to be able to, again, fix these culverts and things that we're going to need to once this gets identified. So I think that'll work out really well. So we'll jump down to 4.1, review and send a letter to the Board of Health regarding trash collection. I first want to say that this isn't a regularly scheduled select board meeting. I scheduled this just to go over the executive session, but then we saw these other pieces come in, so we figured we might as well put it on here. We do have an executive session that I want to get to, and it's going to be right at 7 o'clock. So I want to be mindful, A, of the time, and B, to make sure that we have enough time to get through some of the other stuff that we need to. As far as the Board of Health, we have established a working group in regards to where we're going to be going with the curbside trash. And we have we invited basically all the boards that are involved, that would be involved in the trash program. We also have an individual from the state. I don't remember what Irene's title is.
It's regional recycling.
Coordinator. Yeah, she's with the state. She's been very active in the conversation. Excuse me. We've also consulted with other state agencies as to where our direction is going to go. In the last meeting that we had, the chairman of the Board of Health was not, I guess, happy with the way things were going and didn't wait until the meeting was over. But Ross and I felt that sending a letter to the Board of Health, again, inviting them to be part of the discussion, which I really think is important. We need their input in regards to what our next steps are. So I've included a letter to the Board of Health that reads, "Dear Jim and Board of Health members, the Select Board appreciates the Board of Health's efforts to negotiate a one-year extension to the curbside trash collection contract with G.W. Shaw and Son Incorporated. Through your department's efforts, the town saved almost $70,000 from the amount originally proposed by the contractor for the fiscal year 25 budget. While the setting of fees is within the purview of the Select Board, we welcome the input of the Board of Health and staff regarding this matter. As mentioned in the August 6th letter from the interim town administrator addressed to the Board of Health members, staff, and several other interested parties, there would be a working group to develop the fee collection process. Therefore, we would like your input into this meeting. We again extend this invitation to the Board of Health representatives to work with the Select Board and town administrator to finish this task and help the town move forward. Sincerely, Chad Sexton-Duranian, Chair." And with your permission, I'd like to be able to send this to the Board of Health.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it, but is there any input on that? Can you say something in regards to this?
Yeah, of course.
This letter very well. I have a problem that at town meeting, special town meeting, Board of Health members jumped up and basically accused the Board of Selectmen of holding meetings without them involved. This letter clearly states that there were letters sent out to them, and for the record, that Mr. Leclerc showed up at a meeting, didn't like evidently what was going on, and stormed out. So I just want for the record that everybody has been duly notified, and I think he misled the townspeople that we were trying to pull a quick one on somebody. That's all I have to say. And I'm okay with you sending that.
Okay. So with the board's permission, I'm going to go ahead and sign this, and if we could send this off to the Board of Health. Thank you. Next point of business, 4.2, discuss and potentially vote trash collection cost recuperation process. I had to add a big word in there for me, Russ. Huh? All right. So, like I said before, we weren't. The only reason why I wanted to have this on tonight's is not to discuss the process, but what we are doing is to basically codify what our process is moving forward. Is that fair to say, Ross?
Yes, I think we need to concentrate on a specific path and work on that. And I can sort of summarize two options. I mean, first, it was clear that the direction from the board was we needed to recoup the $822,000 we're paying for Shaw's. And that was needed because we had a budget deficit. And when you were at that time, this $822,000 represented most of that deficit. I had mentioned a flat fee because at that point I thought a flat fee was the simplest way to go. Turns out it's not. we had estimated $25,000 as administration process to implement a flat fee. Some of that was wages and some of that was software. The wage piece would have continued onwards after the software was purchased. As you know, that article didn't pass in town meeting. So coming up with the administration costs was going to be difficult. The other problem with a fee system is differentiating between 2-family and 3-family dwelling units. In that we recognize who the owner is, but we don't know who might be in the second and third units. So getting a flat fee to them could be a problem. If we sent it to the owner, if we sent an owner that owns a 3-family dwelling, we sent them 3 flat fee bills, there could be owners that have vacant units, which would have been difficult. Quarterly billings seem to be the most economical, but the problem is there'd be 3 months when you wouldn't necessarily know if someone's paid or not paid. Monthly billing, which I think is more appropriate because it basically lowers the amount they pay each month versus getting a quarterly bill that's 3 times as expensive. But monthly billing was prohibitively expensive. And we looked into piggybacking with the water department to see if we could send out the trash fees with the water bills. But that didn't work because apparently only about 60% of the town is on town water. So there'd be a number that wouldn't be getting the bills for that process. And so that didn't work. I've heard a lot of comments, and I've since understood why, is if you did a flat fee, families that might have 1 person in it generate very little trash on a weekly basis, where families that have a lot of people living in that dwelling unit generate many bags of trash. And is it fair to charge the person generating 1 bag the same amount as the person generating 6 or 7 bags? And so flat fee became a bit of a problem. For some of the units that were vacant, or if people go out of town for the winter, there would be could be an opt-out process, but again, that's more bureaucracy to manage, and you can then communicate that to the truck driver. Don't pick up at this address. The other thing that's been pointed out is when towns have gone to pay-as-you-throw, a bag system, they have experienced 30+% decrease in overall trash. And the advantage of that is obviously it's environmentally better because that means they're recycling more, repurposing more, doing something other than throwing trash out. Is if we track this over the year, we may find our total tonnage that's dumped will be less in subsequent years, which could help control the costs of the trash contract with vendors like Shaw's. So the flat fee turned out not to be as equitable or as easy to implement as I initially thought. And then we started understanding how the pay-as-you-throw works. It turns out we are well along in implementing that because we've got a bag system for overflow now, where we charge for bags and the overflow can go in those bags. We would morph that into a full-blown pay-as-you-throw system. So it's easy to expand that system. Waste Zero is the vendor that provides these bags. They already have contacts with local vendors. I think it's McNabb's and the grocery store. So they've got accounts set up. They know how to do the billing. The retail stores know how to order and get the bags. Waste Zero handles the bag ordering. They handle the inventory. They handle the shipping of the bags to the retailer, and they handle the invoicing. So when the bag is sold at the retail store, some of that money goes back to pay Waste Zero, and the rest comes to Townsend. The advantage of that system is we don't have to buy all the bags up front. So we don't need to front $70,000 or $80,000 worth of bags to get the program going. So there's essentially zero cost. I think the pay-as-you-throw is equitable for small generators and large generators. They pay based on what they generate. We don't have to worry about empty units or people that leave town for long periods of time because they're not going to buy bags, they're not going to put anything out, they're simply not going to pay for when they're not here. It removes the issue of opting out because if you don't put out the right bag, it's not collected, and therefore you're not charged. We also don't need the $25,000 administration process that I initially thought was needed for setting up a flat fee. I've talked to Glenn Shaw at Shaw's disposal, and he said, yes, they can do that under the existing contract, and he says he needs about 2 weeks' notice to get his drivers prepared for that. Waste Zero has done this before. They can help us, provide us with the informational flyers that we will send out. They can provide us with sample web page content that we can use, and they can help us with social media postings to help get the word out. So part of what I think that the working committee will do is to flesh out these details, but I think that the process, we have a skeleton of the process ready to go. We also can use up the inventory of overflow bags. They would just become the normal pickup bag, but we can use those existing bags. Price per bag based upon the, I'm working with Katie to see that we generate enough cash to cover what we need to cover that bill. I throw this out as where we're looking at now. It's not the final price, but we're looking at about $4.25 for the 33-gallon bags and $2.75 for the 15-gallon bags. We've had some people suggest just go with a big bag. We'll flush that out as to what it's done. Going this pay-as-you-throw program through the state now opens us up to a couple grants. It's a technical assistance grant to help us get going. There's also some other grants that might help defray some costs. So I think this is the easiest way to go. I think it's the most equitable. What I'm looking for the board to say is, yes, let's go to pay-as-you-throw. And then I think largely through Nelson, he would come back with the details, hopefully in a week or so, and say, this is how it will work. The working committee, my intention is to flesh out concerns, obstacles, and then come up with solutions on how to fix those problems. And then you will have a package that you can look at as to how the actual pay-per-throw would work. So I don't have all the answers. I'm hoping that we can get the questions asked and work on developing those answers in a program that works as best as it can for the town.
And that, thank you, Ross, for that. And my thought on this is that if we could have within a 2-week period, I'd like to have a public forum that we can talk with the general, open it up at Memorial Hall and do, set it up much like we do with the town meeting so that we get input from everybody. We are allowing the residents to be able to give their input on what it is. I was more concerned about the procedure and how we went about this, and now I think we're along with the same steps. I did have a conversation, or I sent an email out to Irene in regards to her contribution to what we're doing. I think the ultimate goal, number one, is to help supplement what we have this year so that we can have a solid plan going forward with the next year. And that's why I think it's important that we have the Board of Health with us. So when we renegotiate this contract for next year, that we can get another 3-year contract and we're all on the same page with this, so we don't have to jump through hoops again. That's kind of like my goal. So Nelson will be able to get whatever information that we need to get and get the details done. And I'd like to get a town forum set up in Memorial Hall, and then we can get the input from the townspeople, and then we'll be able to make a solid decision on how we're going to move forward.
I've received couple emails and phone calls. I would encourage people to send questions or send, how do you handle this question to us? So you can send it to me. My email will get forwarded to Nelson, or you can forward it directly to Nelson. But the idea is to flush out the issues and come up with solutions as fast as we can.
I just want to make sure that as we made very clear, rash decisions are never a good thing in a municipality. So I want to make sure that we have, I want to go to the subject matter experts to let us know what's working, what's not working in other communities. I did realize that the other communities within Massachusetts, there's only a very small number that are still, that are not doing something like this. And I think we really need to do our part. Teresa, do you have any questions?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with the way the plan's going forward. I agree, though, we still have some things to work through the process on how it would be done. I do have a couple of questions, but I will send those off unless you just want me. My biggest one is for homebound citizens. How do we see that they get the trash bag they need? I'm sure there's a solution for that. I'm not saying that would stop the program, but I just want to make sure it's addressed because we do have a very small, but we do have a homebound community.
Good point. And that's definitely something that we need to flush through. There is a meeting with the working group tomorrow. I don't know if you both know that. They're going to be discussing, they're going to be able to discuss more now that, that's the direction that the board is asking them to go.
Okay.
And then they'll be able to set up when their next meeting is. And I hope within 2 weeks, within a week, actually, we can decide when I can set up a public forum, and then we can address the public there if you guys are all set with that.
That sounds good to me.
So, yeah, I just have a couple questions. First, I think, I took a very hard stance when we first talked about it, and I just want to make it very clear. The reason I took a stance was we were not updated enough, and myself, I did not have enough input, and I didn't know anything about it. Since we've had that meeting, since town meeting, I have talked to several people. I've talked to some different communities. There is a little bit of work to get it done. As Ross stated, there are, some things that have to be addressed. One big thing is, okay, our recycling right now doesn't go into bags, it just goes in the plastic bin. These type of questions should be answered. Are those going into a plastic bag to be dumped? I mean, how's that? So that'd be kind of a good question I think we need. And, now that I've put a little more into this, I think by far I've heard from several elderly residents, and we have to consider everybody, and they've all had good points. They don't make a lot of trash. They don't produce. My biggest concern is however we do this, we just got to be able to generate enough money to offset what we need for the budget. And other than that, I'm glad we're moving this way. I'm glad I've had the opportunity to take the time and not get blindsided by something. So my opinion, I think it's the right thing. Move forward.
Anything else, Teresa? Take that as a no.
Take that as a
Okay. 4.3, sign CBA with Career Firefighters of Townsend, Local 4926. There's you written all over it.
Well, the board has previously signed an MOU, so we've worked out the terms. I found some time to actually incorporate those MOUs into a new draft contract. I think the whole negotiation process went very well. Joe was part of that from the beginning, along with Eric, and 3 representatives from the union, as well as the chief. When I got here, I sort of slowed things down because I wanted some questions and sort of understand how they got to where they did, but I'm comfortable with the solution. I think it's workable for Townsend. I think it addresses the need for the firefighters to have firefighters that are paid competitively and fairly. It's a 3-year agreement, and we were able to do it before the first agreement expired,
That's a big one.
That's a plus. We haven't
That's
done
a
that in
plus.
years.
thus avoiding any retro pay issues.
So if no one has any disagreement, I'd like to just jump right into a motion to sign the document as presented for career firefighters of Townsend, Local 4926.
So moved?
Second,
Any further discussion on it? All those in favor?
Teresa Marsh, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
And Teresa, may we have your permission to use your stamp on this?
Yes, you can. And I'll send something by email.
Okay. Thank you.
Sign that after.
Yeah. Let's see. 5.1, Town Administrator updates and reports.
Well, you signed one of the contracts for the climate resilience grant. That's the one we signed with Western Sampson. The town is applying for another one, which is an energy efficiency block grant. And this is to develop community-based clean energy plans. This will be a joint effort with Pepperell, Littleton, and Dunstable. No matching funds required from the town. It's a 1-year contract, even though they talk about hiring an energy manager, somebody to help with the programs. It's understood that there's no guarantee that that position will continue a second year. So we're not obligating the town to anything ongoing. The thought was, instead of hiring an employee, they'd probably hire a contractor, maybe from one of the regional plant agencies. But this is a chance to look at clean energy activities that would benefit Townsend as well as the region. So that's just coming in the works. I wanted you to know that that was something I had basically said to the other towns, let's move ahead on that. Basically looking forward, as a future agenda, you may want to consider adding an item to appoint Nelson as Chief Procurement Officer, Hearing Officer, and I think the Select Board's designee for handling grievances. With that, I want to take the opportunity to thank the board for the opportunity to be here. I want to thank the town residents for the chance to serve. I wish Nelson, I wish the town, I wish the board all the best of luck going forward. And if there's anything I can do to help, tell me. It's been a good experience being here in Townsend.
Challenging too.
Good experience. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Ross. Appreciate that.
I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for the work that you've done. I know it was difficult to jump in. This was completely unexpected. And when I first made the phone call, I was crossing my fingers, hoping you'd say yes to help us out. This wasn't as long as the last time, which I'm kind of happy about. But we've got a lot done, and I know that we are with discussions with Nelson. We want to be able to talk with you further about the energy aggregation that we're working on. We have municipal aggregation, which the numbers are surprising that come in that we're saving with the aggregation for municipal buildings. And if we can do that for our residents as well, I want to be able to continue on with that. But that's something we'll work out with Nelson and you as we move forward. But again, thank you. Now you can have your summer back.
Thank you.
Announcements and communications. We do have a couple of announcements. We have some legal notices that we need to touch upon. These all come from the Conservation Commission. We're holding a public hearing on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. And they are going to be taking up 3 issues, it looks like. The hearing will be held virtually via Zoom meeting and in person at Town Hall on a notice of intent filed with the Conservation Commission by Rob Becker. The property is located at 50 Sauna Road, Assessors Map 24, Parcel 25, Lot 3. The proposed project is for the installation of a seasonal dock in Vinton Pond. Resource areas impacted by the seasonal dock are bank and land underwater. The next one is a hearing will be held virtually via Zoom and in person at Town Hall on a notice of intent filed with the Conservation Commission by Townsend Highway Department. The property is located at 94 Fitchburg Road, Assessors Map 16, Parcel 39, Lot 2. The proposed project is for the extension of a public storm drain pipe to outfall into the 100-foot bordering vegetated wetland buffer. And they are going to take up another hearing, which will be held virtually via Zoom and in person at Town Hall on a notice of intent filed with the Conservation Commission by Grace Miha. The property is located at 12 Canal Street, Assessors Map 47, Parcel 39. The proposed project is for a residential septic replacement within the riverfront area. And again, those are all Conservation Commission. Yes, in regards to that, Teresa, do you have any announcements?
No, I do not.
Joe, anything? As this was an abbreviated agenda, I took out the reports, liaison reports in that. 5.4, our next meeting will be September 10th, 2024 at 6 p.m. That is a regular selectmen's meeting. And 5.5, I'll entertain a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Teresa Marsh, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Now, I believe we are going to take a recess until 7 o'clock. We have an executive session. After a recess, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. This is in regards to the supervisors union, in regards to a grievance. I would then like to enter into executive session pursuant to Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares, which he does. This is in reference to deliberation regarding the supervisors union grievance.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion?
And not to return to open session after those meetings?
That is correct, not to return to open session after. All those in favor?
Teresa Marsh, yes.
Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Okay. We will end this portion of the meeting. We'll recess until 7 o'clock.